Hello, my love. Excuse me. Welcome to your midwinter slash snowmageddon tarot reading. Our campus has just been closed for the third day. I didn't have anything on campus today, but it is just a little interesting. I'm gonna be going out in a little bit to study with some people, so I can at least get human interaction. So I am going a little crazy, which is my appearance here. Although I do have an IU t-shirt on, so I'm channeling some Indiana vibes. But thanks for putting up with a little bit of a messy. Just please don't show this to anyone because I look like a total scrub. I've been wearing a hat for the last 24 hours to keep warm in my body. I feel like my hair is reflecting that. But anyway, I've got my space all set up. I just want to show you my little table. Burning the candle that you gave me. I've saged the area, so I've cleared it of any old energies, and I've got there, shaman incense burning. So I'm really channeling your energy right now. And I felt like the Wildwood Tarot deck was speaking to me today, which is this guy. I haven't used it in a while, but I had another reading recently that was wanting this deck as well. So, and then it was what kept coming up in my mind when I was picturing doing your reading. So, shuffling, kind of focusing on your energy, what should come through for you today. And I know you're wanting some questions with your business creation, the BB Quinn Empire. So, I can't make any guarantees because I really open myself up for messages that want to come through for you. But I do think that asking specifically about about certain areas of life is important. So I am focusing my energy there for you. Just want to level your expectations a little bit and know that I guess I'm just inviting you to be open to what comes through. Let me turn my heater on real quick. Our electricity is back on, but it's still a little chilly in my room. All right. I'm also putting it out there. I'm only reading right side up, so I will change things if they come down. Oof, okay. I love these cards so much. Oh my god, they're so beautiful. You'll see what I mean. Ugh. And they're really there's some really strong messages coming through here for you. So I also am thankful for that. All right, so I'm gonna show you. I'm doing a Celtic spread here. I'm gonna show you what that looks like, what your spread looks like. So I just like to give an overview of where we're going. Give you a minute to take a look there. You can always hit pause on that too. It's a nice thing about the video setup is you kind of get to do whatever you want with this information. All right, so highly recommend having a journal close by. I'm sure you already do. Give yourself some space. Feel free to hit pause as much as you can. And as things kind of ping, hit pause, write them down. And one thing I shared with another person this week is that it's really important to write down how you translate what gets said. And not necessarily what I say word for word. because what might happen is that I might say something that triggers another line of thought or messaging in your mind, and that's really what's important to you. So that's what you should be writing down. Don't be so concerned with quoting me or anything like that in your journal. Unless it's something where you're like, no, I really need that specific sentence. Obviously, go for it. But I just think it's important to note that you are going to interpret these things as you need them, and that's your higher self looking out for you and your spirit guides directing you. So, so just, I guess, give yourself permission to understand it as you understand it. Okay, so we're just going to dive right in here. Okay, the card that is in the person you are right now is the Ten of Bows. And in this deck, let's see, Vessels is water. Let me double check. I think Ten of Bows might correspond with, these are just a little bit different. Bows might correspond with Pentacles. Nope, I think it actually nope, okay, hold on. Okay, arrows, just for future reference, arrows corresponds to swords. Bows corresponds to wands. Vessels corresponds to cups, and stones corresponds to pentacles. So that makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, so Ten of Bows, and then they also tagged it responsibility. And there's just almost this sense that your destination is way up here, and it feels like an uphill struggle all the way. And you're carrying all of these things you think you should be doing. That's where you are currently. Your most recent past is the Five of Stones. So this is where you're coming from. Five of Stones. Endurance is the key word here. And I love that this is a little girl, like, tending to a fire. And so there's almost this, like, feeling that your inner child is, your inner child was kind of the one who was, I don't want to say left out in the dark, but that's what keeps coming to me. We'll come back to that. Where your near future is the Five of Bows, empowerment. So this is where your path is directing you. And I think that's a really good sign, is that, so here where, you've got all the bows on your back and there's this sense of like really struggling with it. I love that they're all laid out in the grass here. And then there's this image of like the creature using the bow as opposed to being weighed down by them. Almost like a transcendence. Like it's no longer being kind of tied to this earthly body, I guess, and especially no longer tied to the past. So this feeling of being a little girl stuck out on the ledge, having to tend the fire for yourself, having to endure constantly, that word there, having to endure without a lot of support, that time is coming to an end. And in fact, this, I would say, is an invitation for you to finally release a lot of that past baggage and karma and move into a place of enlightenment. So the card that's overlaying these, that's usually the bridge or the barrier, is the King of Arrows. And that's the Kingfisher. I'm going to look that one up, although I do think it's interesting that you're moving through bows, and then it's the King of Arrows that's going to help you get there. Like, bow and arrow, right? That kind of interplay. So I want to look up the King of Arrows though. Where'd my book go? Okay. King of Arrows. And this Wildwood deck is like a whole system of it in itself. It's very pagan. It's very earth spiritualism, and I love that. The gentlemen, two people who created this, they wrote this really fantastic, like huge book just about how to navigate it. So if you ever get a chance to pick this deck up, I would highly recommend it. I think you'll love it. Okay, King of Arrows. Oh, it's interesting. It's position on the wheel too. The year of the wheel is Imbolc, which is happening. It just happened on February 1st. It's the initiation of spring, and it moves toward the spring equinox. So, when I said this is the time for you to really move past your karma, that's what the King of Bows or King of Arrows is saying. Yes, now is the time. So the quote they have on here is from Albert Einstein: "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." To me, what this is saying for you is that your intuition is going to be what guides you forward, and your rational mind needs to follow suit. And some languages or some things you might hear, that is what we call leading with the heart. That's what Wateki will say, is you're leading with the heart. And when you do that, then the ego falls in line. So this is really a very strong invitation for you to start tuning into your heart, to ask your heart every step of the way what it wants to do. And the way you can begin doing that is by really simple everyday tasks, like what should I make for breakfast? Heart, what would you like to make for breakfast? Should I walk the dog right now, or do some tarot and then go in an hour? And ask your heart, what would you prefer to do? Take these really simple things and begin asking your heart. And this will help you learn to tune the voice, tune to the voice of your heart, to hear it and really follow it. There's a beautiful line, and I have to read it as it just came to mind, from The Alchemist. This is I've been referring to this in every reading I've given this week, and it's funny because the last two that I gave, they were like, oh my gosh, I just bought that book. So this may be a push for you to revisit that, but there's a part where, the boy and the alchemist are traveling through the desert together, and he spends a lot of time communing with his heart, and his heart teaches him a lot of things. And then he says, the boy and his heart had become friends, and neither was capable now of betraying the other. And that's one that really cuts deep for me, because I think about how many times I've betrayed my heart. And I think this is an invitation for you to really become friends with your heart. Because, and how does that tie into your business, right? We are our most authentic selves when we lead from the heart. And we raise our vibration at that point. We really expand the law of attraction, the law of magnetism. When we raise our vibration, we are going to attract things with higher vibration. And your business is very much, and what you're creating is so very much a part of you, that if it is not in integrity with your heart, it's not going to be that high vibration that you want, or that the rest of you is even vibing with. So if you're creating something that's out of integrity with your being, it's not going to survive. It's not going to thrive. So it's very important for you to really start here, tune into your heart and allow it to lead you. And this is going to go against, sometimes it's going to go against logical wisdom. Sometimes it's going to go against what the experts will say. But I guarantee you, looking back, it will make the most sense. What your heart is doing, and this is what the way I see it, we have a higher self. We have a spirit version of ourselves. They're up there. They're higher, right? They're higher than us. And I like to think of it as like, they're kind of like in a hot air balloon above us, and they have, like little spectacles, and they can see ahead. And the way they communicate to us what's going on is directly through our heart. And so there have been times when it's like, I have felt my heart say, don't do that. And I'm like, man, but I'll give you an example. So last week, I really needed to make money to pay for my car. I got up on Monday morning. It had been snowing all day Sunday. I kind of poo-pooed it because I was like, I'm from the Midwest. Like, you can't get me. I got up early. I was going to drive for rush hour. And my heart was like, no, go back to bed. Go back to bed. Go back to bed. And I fought it. It was a true wrestling. I fought it. Got up and I was like, no, we need to make money. Okay. That was my ego overriding my heart. We need to make money. No, we need to make money. And I got all ready to go. And then when I got upstairs, I don't really see outside from where I am. I had my blinds closed and stuff. I got upstairs and I looked out the window, and we had probably 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground. And I'm like, I am not traversing these hills in that snow. And it was finally like the actual logic of the situation showed that my heart was telling me the right thing to do. So, and I ended up not making any money, and I turned my car in, but I had a deposit and it covered the cost of the car, and I ended up getting some of my deposit back. So I didn't lose out in the end. Okay. But I really believe our higher self is up there. It's trying to keep us safe, keep us on the right path, and direct us toward the opportunities that our limited logical mind cannot see or comprehend. Our mind, our ego, only operates on what it's already experienced. And so if you're in a place of expansion and your higher self is getting you, like trying to get you to see that there are more and more and more opportunities in this world than you realize, following your mind is only going to keep you in the same place. You have to tune into your heart and follow your heart, right? So hopes and fears. The hopes is in the 6 of bows. Not surprising. It's in abundance. You're hoping that this path will turn into abundance for you. And your fear, also not surprising. Insecurities. I think this image is incredibly accurate. And also, this is the green woman, which is going to show up fantastically toward the end of this reading. Oh God, I just love when the cards work together like this. Okay, so she's being pierced by all these arrows. Message here, these arrows are from you, all right? Your own insecurity is drawn from you, from your logical mind, ruling when your heart should be the queen. So, again, you got to tune into your heart, girl. If you want to move toward abundance, you want to move toward authenticity and integrity, it's your heart. It's always going to be your heart. So there are going to be 2 companions along this journey. And unfortunately, they are natural companions when we're talking about moving forward in a healthy, vibrant, expanded way. You will receive challenge from the outer world, okay? And a big part of that is because you're still resisting in your internal world. Even as you're moving forward, there are going to be pieces of you resisting. It's going to be really important work to sit down when you feel resistance to something, to sit with that and ask questions. Ask your heart, why am I resisting to this? Ask what parts of you need attention, what parts of you feel scared. I'm sorry, I feel like the recording is a little delayed. I apologize for that. I'm running out of memory on my computer. When you encounter challenge in the outer world, come back around and ask if there is also challenge in your inner world. Okay? That will not always be the case. It will not always be the case that the outer world is reflecting your inner world from that standpoint. However, it will be the case that your outer world does begin to respond to the different vibration that you're holding. Okay? Because anything not in integrity with that vibration is either going to fall away or it's going to kick back. And you're going to have to decide when you come to those places if those people, relationships, situations are worth working through and holding on to, or if they are completely counter to what you need to do to keep in integrity. Okay? Each situation is going to be different. But if the next card is correct, 7 of Vessels, morning, you are going to be doing some letting go. So what's challenging about this path is that it's one thing to say, yes, I want to live in integrity. I want to move closer to living out of my heart. I want to listen to and honor and obey what my heart instructs me to do. I want to have this consistently high vibration. I want to have creations that are in integrity with me. It is another to walk the path, okay? And that is not I'm not saying that to scare you, but more as a disclosure that the road going forward is not going to be easy. The world you live in now was based on the vibration you created. And unfortunately, it was based on this vibration. It was based on the vibration of thinking you have to do it all yourself. And if you don't do it, no one will. If you don't take care of you, no one will. That the world is a world of scarcity and fear and hypervigilance and being constantly alert and wary. That's the world you create. That's the world that's around you. And maybe honestly not all, it's not completely, because you have already begun this work. You've already begun the brave work of standing up to people and just saying, I don't want this vibration in my life anymore. You've already tasted a little bit of that. Now you're jumping in both feet into the deep end. All right. So it's going to get a little bit more intense before it starts to level out and you see the rewards of it. I will say this though, it's going to be worth it. Okay. The next card here is the 2 of Vessels, one of my favorites, attraction. It's very much a balance of the masculine and feminine here. And if you have noticed, there's a giant flaming heart in the middle of it. Right? Our heart is truly our guide. And as the vibration of your being elevates, you will attract those things that are more in harmony with you. So, that's a promise, all right? That's the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. And I think that in terms of what your path could look like, there are definitely worse cards than the challenge card and the mourning card. Because these are still minor arcana. They're fleeting. Okay, so for me, difference between minor and major, and actually you don't have any, you have one major arcana, that's going to play out. Oh man, I can't wait to share this one with you. You're going to fucking love it. Okay, but all of these have been made minor arcanas. To me, the minor arcana is more transient, a little bit more temporary. It's not as intense, okay? The Mourning card could very easily have been the Death card, which is just way more intense than like actively mourning something. The Challenge card could have been like the Tower, all right? Those are the intense versions of, like, to me, the Minor Arcana means like you're moving in the right direction. Just a heads up, these are going to be a part of your path for a little bit, but they will pass. If the Major Arcana were to show up in these positions, it would indicate to me that you are on the wrong path and something has to break big time to get you back on the right path. So the encouragement here for me is, even though these feel discouraging, the encouragement that I see in it is that these are just natural progressions of the path you've been on, which means you've been on the right path and you will continue to move forward on the right path. You just need to you've come to a point in the path where you're being invited to take the higher road, and you're given, it's kind of like you've gotten to level 8 in the video game and you have new challenges that you have to work with and new skill sets that you have to develop, right? It doesn't mean that you're going in the wrong direction. It just means the universe and your higher self and all of your guides are telling you you're ready. You are ready to take this next step, and we want to invite you to do so. And by invite, I mean we want to invite you to embrace the process, even though it's going to be hard. Because by you embracing it, there's a difference between choice and obligation, okay? And those have very different energies. Obligation is disempowered. It is, I'm just doing this because I have to, and I'm just biding my time until the good times come again. It's totally neglecting and ignoring that the path you're on, even with its challenges, has incredible gifts for you, okay? It's like, again, the video game analogy, it's like if you, remember when you jumped on King Krupa at the end of Super Mario Brothers? This is really the only game I really know. You jump on King Krupa 3 times, and when you do that, he disappears and there's a key, right? So it's that idea that if you can really intentionally, consciously work through the challenges ahead of you, you'll find that they disappear and you're left with a beautiful gift instead. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. So, resolution card. Sometimes I feel like, I get these messages are just like, and then they get to the end of them and I'm like, whoa, I'm a little lightheaded. Okay, last card here is the resolution card, and this is the Green Woman. And I love her. Okay, the Green Woman is like the, let's see, she's number 3 in tarot, so she corresponds with the Empress. She is fully in her power. She is beautiful. She is decked in the like beauties of the woods. And I love these little like woodland creatures in her hands too. Like, she commands creation. And she does so not from a place of driving, right? Like with a whip and like shh, shh. She does so from a place of intuition, magic, and heart-centered movement. And so she understands that sometimes being heart-centered means you stay in the woods for a week in silence and meditation and prayer, touching base, recuperating, regenerating, and then you spend 2 months out kicking ass, making shit. All right? So the Green Woman gets it. And the reason I love her, and the reason I feel like she comes full circle, is because look at this. Here's the Green Woman that you are right now. You are already the Green Woman. You're already there. You just need to stop shooting yourself down. All right? You need to give space for her to emerge. And the only way to do that is to pay attention to your heart. The Green Woman is ultimately heart-based. There's just no way around that. I'm going to see what they talk about here with the Green Woman. Okay, so she, time-wise, stands at the midsummer solstice, which is June 21st. The element is fire and is associated with noon, the noontime time of the day. She is earthly manifestation of female solar energy. She's a fucking badass. And the solar, in all of astrology and tarot as well, is the heart. It's corresponding to the heart. All right. So, the green woman encompasses the female archetype of wildness and green energy. Her presence balances that of the wild man and represents the earthly manifestation of female solar energy and the rich bounty of the Great Mother. She also represents the goddess of the land, sometimes expressed as sovereignty, who challenges all comers to brave her tests and to offer to those who succeed the gifts of inner kingship and love and a deepening bond to the riches of the earth. From her pours the glorious light of the midsummer sun, blessing everything it touches with life and boundless energy. So, what I love about the time frame that it mentions being summer is that this is going to extend into the mid-June time frame. So it's good to keep that in mind, that it's going to be a bit of a journey. But you will emerge with the summer solstice as a completely different person. And I really encourage you to write this down, this date down, and revisit this video at that time and use it as a time of reflection to see how far you've come. Give yourself lots of credit. Give yourself celebration. Give yourself love and compassion and grace. Because from here to there is going to be a bit of a challenge. It's going to be a lot of lessons. It's going to be a lot of slips and falls and picking yourself back up again with compassion. You have to take these arrows, okay, and turn them into beams of love and light and radiance. Anytime you want to speak poorly to yourself, turn that language around. I think I've shared with you, but maybe not. I work a lot with my inner family, so all those little parts of myself, they have names, and I've come to acknowledge and recognize their purpose and all of that. I discovered last year my inner abusive father, and he's the one that shoots arrows into me. He's the one that tells me, you're crazy for thinking this. Who are you to feel this way? Who are you to want these things in your life? And he is doing it. What I had to recognize is he was doing it from a place of self-protection. So it is important to acknowledge that these are not demonic pieces. These are not the devil. These are just shadowy parts of you that were warped into thinking if they could, that they wanted to protect you by any means possible. And sometimes that meant keeping you from going out into the world and being vulnerable to it. So before they could let other people shoot you down, they did it themselves. It's warped and twisted, but that's what they've done. And when I didn't, I think the tendency would be to say, away from me, Satan, right? But instead I spoke calmly and plainly to this person. I said, you're not this part of me. I said, you're not allowed to treat us that way anymore, all the rest of us. I'm going to give you new tools. And instead of cutting me down, you can tell me that I'm beautiful. You can tell me that I'm smart, that I'm capable. And I'm not joking. When he said, okay, you're beautiful, it was like this revitalizing energy that went through my body. I can't explain it. It was powerful. And so there is power in the words you say to yourself. Right now, they're pinning you to the ground. They've got you paralyzed. If you can change those words, if you can make them self-compassionate, make them loving, make them kind, even if you mess up, all right? Tell yourself you're doing the best you could, you know? You're doing the best you could with the tools you had. You didn't know then. Okay, what can we do now? What can we reflect on now that will give us other tools? Okay, well, maybe I can do this or this, right? My struggle has been money for years. When this last struggle came through and I couldn't pay my rent on time, I told myself we're not going to do it like we always did. We have done the best. We have worked so hard to even get the money we came up with. All right? These are factors that are beyond our control, and it couldn't have been different. And the more compassionate I was with myself, the more I found my outer world responding in kind. And it's been really beautiful and really helpful. So change your language, honor your heart. And I think in June, you're going to find that you are operating on a totally different level, that the things you're creating are so exciting to you and beyond your wildest imagination, that they are things you never realized could be, but are, and they're amazing, and they feel divine, which I think is what you've been longing for. You've been longing for creation that comes from your hands to feel divinely inspired. And there's a reason for that, and that's because you're capable of it. Like, you have the gift of divinely creating. So this says, well, there was something about her creation. Where did I miss it? Okay, I missed it. That's all right. I think maybe it was just what was coming to me, my interpretation. All right, I'm getting a pull to draw one more card. Oh, I love this. This makes me want to cry, I'm not gonna lie. All right, it's clearance, Seven of Bows. And what this card reminds me of is, again, where you are right now, where it feels like this long uphill journey to the fire that's up here. And what I'm getting with this card is that you have clearance to move forward, baby girl. You have clearance to put down your load. You have clearance to make your journey light, even as you're traveling through obstacles. Moving forward does not have to be what it has been in the past. You can do this journey with ease and grace if you will embrace it, if you will not resist what the universe has for you coming forward, coming up ahead. You have permission to move ahead with a lighter load, an easier step, and a clear path. All you have to do is believe that and embrace it. And sometimes that will mean sitting back and being still when you think that you should be doing something productive. Sometimes that will mean nurturing yourself above all else, nurturing yourself first before you nurture your creation. Actually, that should be the rule of thumb, is that you're nurturing yourself first. And I know you have some really good practices for that. I think this is all an internal belief structure that is being revamped. So it's not just about getting up and meditating in the morning. It's about believing that caring for yourself, that you're worthy of caring for yourself with compassion, grace, love, and tenderness. All right, darling. I hope this serves you well. This has definitely been a really emotional reading for me. I think because I'm on a similar journey, and I hope that it brings some insight and direction for you. And I look forward to June coming around and hearing about what's come to fruition. I love you, my dear.